welcome back to the channel. Much appreciation because the page has been growing and building, and it's all thanks to you. Like I mentioned yesterday, we're quickly going to go through the updates from the pressers of yesterday, the press conferences for the main teams that I think whose assets we have the most, and then a quick look at the assets and some questions that most of you asked. First and foremost, one of the number one questions for our number one, pun intended, is for Raya. Most of our wildcards that we did create over the week, because I know very many of us are wildcarding. I am not personally, as you're aware, I already used mine, but most of you are, so something that we're going to talk about a lot. So Raya, the communication that came from the formattator wasn't conclusive, and it's going to be a long wait towards the matches, towards the deadline, as we wait and look out for any key news of either whether he has traveled with the team or if he's cited anywhere. But for now, I think it's something for waiting, because he mentioned they'll assess and communicate in the next 24 hours. So fingers crossed he does get to play, but for if you don't want to take any risk, I would advise going for Flecken and Valdimason. That sorry is a very good backup, at least if one doesn't play, the other Oris comes in. Liverpool updates. Ancelot talked about Alisson. Alisson should be ready to play. I think he's back in training. So those that were really patient with him and waited to take him out, I think they were right. He should be able to be in contention to start. There are also some mixed comments about Luis Diaz, but for those that have already brought him in, it's not something that should get you worried. As long as he's giving him the minutes, as long as he's playing, Luis Diaz is looking good and he should be able to be sharp enough. Those wondering if it's a replacement for Salah, I do not really think so. I don't think he covers Salah, but he's still good enough as well. Then for Man City, the updates we did get was about the injury to Rodri, as we had already suspected earlier on in the week. He's out for the entire season. The manager did confirm that. He's going to be ruled out for the remainder of the season. Kevin De Bruyne, I did mention, is going to probably see how to get him back, but that may probably be after the next international break. So that means he might have to miss 6 and 7. So for those that have him, I think it's a long wait and it's a lot of money for you to be keeping on someone to be patient. So I'm thinking it's a sell for now for De Bruyne. Then there was also some questions about the replacements for Rodri in that middle section. Obviously, if it's going to be Rico Lewis or Kovacic, he did mention some of them have played there before, but he has other options. Gundogan can play there, John Stones can play there, Kanji can play there. So with Man City and with Pep, we just have to look out and we wait to see how he makes the changes and how he decides to proceed with all of this. We had an Isak update. He has been struggling with a toe injury. We talked about this last deadline. It seems like it's recurring again. He's still a doubt. He might play. We do not know, because remember last weekend as well we did mention about the doubt, but he still managed to play, though he wasn't good enough. He didn't play well. So it's a long wait for those that have been patient with him. Similar reactions to the Joao Pedro people. Same news of him last week, and then he did come in a bit, but still his injury has been recurring, so he's not fit, and is actually, for him, he has been confirmed he's not in for this week's games. That's for Joao Pedro. Isak could feature. We just have to wait and see. We did get some news about Son as well. Son, some late fitness. Ange confirmed that all other people were fine apart from Sonny. Everyone else is okay. So he's going to be assessed. It's something to do. He didn't say it is age or anything else. He did say maybe the number of games can come in, because they're playing quite a number of games, and Sony is one that plays 90 minutes almost all the time. So he's one to be assessed as well. That's the information we got. So like I've mentioned, all of you have to keep on your Twitter handles, trying to look out for any early team news. That's the only way we're going to get to know any conclusive information as we come to the deadline. What we have right now, as you know, we have coaches like Pep who have made it their niche or their thing for them to always mislead us and tell us this and do the other thing. So what you get here may not be conclusive, but you really have to make sure at least you have your ears on ground and trying to find out what's going on. Lastly, I'm going to talk about most of you that have assets, the key people that we should look forward to. Like I mentioned, this is not a marathon. Sorry, this is not a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So we don't look at only these specific games. We look like at least 3 to 4 game weeks. But looking at this game week specifically, I would think Arsenal assets are a need in your draft or in your team for your wildcard. So you do have Raya, for example. You do have Gabriel, who's really needed in defense, and either Saka or Havertz. So that's those two fixtures for Leicester and Southampton will be good. West Ham has been doing really bad. It was crushed over the weekend by Chelsea in midweek, battered by Liverpool. Another 5 goals. They've conceded, I don't know, like 7, 8 goals in a space of 2 games. So Brentford is looking good as well. The only problem with here is that one person that we know is nailed there is Zambuemo, so he's one to look at. Flecken is someone else we mentioned. We need to look at other options, cheaper options like Carvalho and Shade, but these will be monitored over the course of the weeks depending on who's getting the minutes. Uh, the Brighton Chelsea game is a tight one. I know there are people bringing in Palmer or Nicholas Jackson, but that will be a tight one. I won't comment on that one as among those that need the critical people. Everton Crystal Palace. All I can talk about is DCL and Eze from those two. Those will be good ones. Fulham and Nottingham will be a difficult game, but at least you can understand the people bringing in the likes of Wood. We did notice he's now on penalties, so he's a good pick. Liverpool and Wolves, we never know which Wolves team you're going to expect. It is at home, but the likes of Diaz, the likes of Salah do make very good shots. Then the other important game would be the Ipswich and Aston Villa game. Those that have the likes of Watkins, Konsa, Rogers, those are now also very good options. Lastly, I think I'll talk about Bournemouth and Southampton. Semenyo, and in defense, a very good budget in Kakes. Those are very good options, specifically for this game weeks. Those are the people that I think when you look at your draft, you should at least have most of them in your team. Thank you very much. Thank you for subscribing. FPL responsibly, and I'll see you next time.